So, if I was to say what Lords of the Fallen is, it's like that cousin that you like, but the more you spend time with, the more annoying and frustrating he can get. That's what Lords of the Fallen feels like to me. It feels like the cousin of Dark Souls, but just more annoying as time goes on. Find out why in my review.
Where have you been?
I reached the Citadel. I was able to speak to Antanas. He is concerned about the pathway to the Rogar realm.
So, presentation is really half and half. And overall looks, the game looks gorgeous in the right settings. The lighting effects, the facial animations, the textures really look nice and well done. The music fits the atmosphere very well when you're just sitting down and trying to traverse the game. It's not too groundbreaking, but it's enough to really give the sense of dread in the world. But, unfortunately, whenever you try and sit down and really immerse yourself in the game, the bugs happen. And there's quite a few to list off here. The most common ones that I found are the crash to the desktop, the poorly inconsistent frame rate dropping down to the low 10s, and audio drops coming from the dialogue, the cutscenes, even the game itself. There was times where the audio would just shut off completely. It would take 10 to 15 minutes for it to come back, or even sometimes I would have to restart the game itself. It's clear that this game has a lot of bugs, and even though that there was a patch recently to fix some of these, it still happens consistently enough to where it can really ruin the experience if it happens too much. And that's kind of where it felt for me. I really wanted to sit down and enjoy this game for the presentation, but the constant bugs and crashes really affected that. And again, Lords of the Fallen also takes a little bit from Dark Souls in terms of its combat, its gameplay itself. It's more of a one-on-one type duels. You can fight multiple enemies, but it's not advised because of the way that the combat mechanics work. Combat mechanics. Combat works similarly to where, depending on what type of weapon you have, it swings faster or it swings slower, but it does more damage. So if you have a dagger, you'll swing a lot faster than someone with a sword, but you'll do less damage, versus if you have a hammer, you'll swing a lot slower, but you can stagger and you can hit the enemy a lot harder. So you really have to pick and choose which weapons you want to use to fit the situation. Some enemies are quick, some are slower, some are in between, some use magic, etc, etc. So you get a lot of weapons to play around with to pick your style, which is something this game also does. At the very beginning, you can choose sort of your beginning class, ranging from a cleric, a rogue, or a soldier, but you can always branch out later on. This is just more for a starting gear type thing. So for example, if you want to start out as a rogue but decided, you know what, I need more armor or defense, you can do that through leveling yourself up. This can be achieved by crystallized shards scattered throughout the entire game. These serve as sort of checkpoints into where you can store your overall experience. But when you do store your experience, you lose the modified bonus to which you can actually gain more loot. But going on from that, this is the place where you level up your stats, your magic, and your abilities so you can increase your strength, vitality, faith, etc, etc. This kind of serves as the bonfire mixed in with the person who would level you up. So they're nicely scattered around the map. They're not really too close, but they're not too far. So there's a bit more leeway in terms of exploration, which is something this game actually does very well. While it's not open world, you can explore and open up new pathways to gain more loot, such as rifts in the world. These really act as a risk versus reward, to where if you go in here, yes, the chances of the equipment and the drops are a lot better, but the enemies are usually a lot tougher and the objectives can be a bit harder than the regular game itself. Speaking of which, there is crafting in the game. When you pick up a rune, you can go to a certain blacksmith and he will break open the runes to which you can equip to your armor to make your armor magic defense, or equip to your weapons to do fire damage. It's nice, and it actually helps you out and makes you a lot stronger than you would usually be. And they're not really too hard to get. On the flip side, these rooms are also used to open doors. So again, is that risk versus reward? Do I save this room to power myself up, or do I use it to open a locked chest or a locked door? So the bosses are also a mixed bag. About 2 or 3 of them are just variations of enemies you've already fought in the game. The others are more unique and they have a lot of different patterns to what you need to recognize. You'll probably die a few times fighting these bosses in order to get their pattern down to where you can pretty much kill them fairly easy. I will say though, one boss really grinded my gears in a good way is the Infiltrator boss. It's very challenging to the fact where I really have to sit down and think what I was doing. Now with that being said, this game is a little bit easier, or I should say it's a lot easier than Dark Souls 2, which is claimed to be the easiest of the Souls series. I say that because around midway through the game, once I put my points into the right attributes, I could blow through the game fairly easy. I'm talking maybe 1-2 shot enemy mobs and just blow through everything with a certain type of magic. It's really disheartening, especially since this game has New Game Plus, to where even at the beginning of New Game Plus and onward towards the middle of the game, again, I was blowing through enemies just like that. It was really disheartening.
I know you. You're supposed to be in prison. Your crimes are well known.
It's been a long time, Captain.
So unlike its heavily influenced predecessor Dark Souls or Demon Souls, Lords of the Fallen actually has a streamlined story. So for years, the human race has been trying to pretty much eradicate all evil. By doing so, anyone who commits sin actually has their face tattooed. So this leads to Harkin, which is a well-known convicted sinner due to the tattoos on his face. In a desperate attempt to stop the demonic Rankar Legion from taking over the world, they release Harkin. So he's pretty much the sole defender of pretty much stopping the demon race from coming in and taking over the world. Now of course there's a bit more to that, but I'm not going to try and spoil anything for you in this review. Just know that the story is enough to get you invested, and it's actually told pretty well, with you being able to talk to NPCs, making choices that alter slightly the story, but really won't change the ending. So the game itself is really good in terms of storytelling. I like it a lot. It's more streamlined to where I don't have to read items or look at scrolls to pretty much get the overall story of the game.
Fallen God, creator and destroyer of worlds, hear my vow!
So, Lords of the Fallen borrows a lot from Demon/Dark Souls. There's no denying that. But it does enough to where it can stand out as its own entity. Unfortunately, part of that identity is that this game performs really poorly at times, especially on the PC. With constant frame rate drops, audio desync, audio cutoffs, and the game just crashing altogether, this game needs more stability patches before I can fully recommend it. Once this game gets patched out to where it's a more stable, more playable state, I would say go pick up this title. It's a very fun game, and for those who are really kind of scared to jump into the Demon/Dark Souls series, this is a nice alternative. But again, I want to say wait for a few more stability patches before you go out and pick up this title. So that's what I thought about Lords of the Fallen. This game has potential, but it needs more patches. If you like this review, be sure to leave a like and dislike, leave your thoughts on the game itself if you've already played it, and be sure to check out putthatback.org for more news, reviews, and game related news.